Hi everyone! Welcome back to another episode of STEM Sundays with Emily. Happy 4th of July. It is our first episode in July, so I wanted to make sure it was themed for the holiday. So today we're going to be talking about fireworks, the science behind them, and doing a little activity that is not involving explosives or fire or anything dangerous, just something that we can do before we go to our fireworks show. I'm definitely planning on going to watch some fireworks tonight, and I hope you guys get the opportunity to do so as well. And if not, we have this activity so you can do fireworks at home safely. So let's jump into learning a little bit about the science behind fireworks, how they work, and go from something on the ground to something in the sky, and then we'll jump into the activity. So each firework that you see in the sky starts as a sphere. And in this sphere is some sort of explosive. So on the outside of the sphere is the shell. Inside of the shell is some sort of explosive, usually that's gunpowder. And inside of the gunpowder, it's surrounded all by this sphere of gunpowder. There is a small canister, a small cylinder object that is filled with what they call stars. So not like these stars, or stars that you see in the sky. This is just a name that they use for all the different lights that end up being what you see as a firework. So inside of that canister are the stars, outside of the canister is the gunpowder, all surrounded by the shell. So usually there is a fuse or some sort of string or cord that once you light that fuse, the fuse will travel down the cord, go into the gunpowder, and when the gunpowder heats up, there's a reaction that occurs that makes the gunpowder explode. So when that gunpowder explodes, it breaks the shell open and sends the canister shooting up into the air. So once the canister is shot up into the air, as it's moving through the air, there's gunpowder mixed in with the stars in that canister. So once that is shot up into the sky, that also is heated up. So once it reaches the sky, at that point, that canister will also explode. But this time it releases all of those stars. And when the stars are released, like an explosion, it goes out from the center into a circular pattern, which creates what you see in the sky as a firework. So these stars are all different colors, and that's what creates the different patterns in the sky. So depending on how those stars are arranged in the canister and how the canister is oriented, that's how you get the different colors, the different patterns, all the different types of fireworks that you see. And if you are going to a fireworks show, pay attention to all the different colors that you see, all the different shapes that you see, and all of those relate back to what's contained in that shell. So it starts as a sphere on the ground, and through a series of reactions, mostly with heat and gunpowder, you will see the firework in the sky, which is pretty cool because I'd never learned how fireworks were made. I just thought they were very pretty to look at, but now you know, now I know, and now we can know a little bit about the science of what we're seeing at our fireworks displays. But like I said, before we get to that fireworks show, we are going to do an at-home safe alternative in case you can't see fireworks tonight or you just want to have some fun on your 4th of July. So starting with the materials, we are going to need paper, any kind. I just have regular computer paper. Next is straws. Now these are from our candy boring activity, and I believe I've used them since then. But so I have these jumbo straws. If you have regular straws too, that's really awesome for this activity. Actually, having 2 size straws will be perfect, but I'm going to go through how we can do this activity just using our jumbo straws. Next is markers, or you could print off, we're just using these to draw our own fireworks. So if you want to be creative, feel free to get out some markers, some crayons, colored pencils, whatever it is, to draw our own fireworks on the paper. But if you want to print out different fireworks, feel free. I just thought we'd get a little creative and draw. So I used some highlighters because I thought they were very fun and bright, but again, feel free to use any sort of coloring material that you have at home. Next, we have some tape. Again, any sort of tape will work. You can also use a stapler if you have that instead of tape, but I'm preferring to use tape, just a little bit easier for me. And lastly, some scissors. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start by, all you need for each firework is one straw. So I'm going to move these off to the side, and they're a little bit noisy. And what we're going to do is cut off a small piece of this straw. So I've got a piece, make sure it doesn't go flying at us. I've got a piece that's about 2 inches long, as you can see here. And I just cut that off of our other straw. So now we have one straw now made into two. And what we're going to do is pinch the top of this straw. You can see I'm just pinching it closed. And we're going to tape that so that it's closed at one end. We'll get some tape. And this is where you could use a stapler if you wanted to staple this top shut, but tape works just good. Alrighty, so we have our tape on, just like that. So as you can see, the one end is open, maybe. The other end is taped shut. And now, similar to the activities where we've used these straws in the past, we're going to create 4 cuts into the bottom so that the straw opens up a little bit. So the only reason I'm doing this is because we want the top part of the firework, where we're actually going to tape our firework, we want that to be a little bit larger than the bottom part. So you'll see once we get this all set up what I mean, but if you have just one sized straw, whether that's a jumbo or regular sized, if we make these cuts in the bottom, it will just help us widen out the space so that it becomes a little bit larger than our bottom piece. So now that we have our cuts made and our top is taped shut, we're going to make a firework. So I went ahead already before this video and just drew a couple of different firework patterns here on my paper. So I'm going to cut one out. And again, feel free to, if you want to print out a firework pattern, go for it. But I thought it was fun to get a little creative, see what kind of patterns we can create, and use them for our project today. So I'm just cutting this out. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just cutting right around it in a circle. So I have my firework cut out, and we're just going to tape it onto the small straw with the closed top. So I'm just going to tape it on the back, one piece on the back here, and I'm just going to put a small piece on the front. So now that we have our firework taped on, there we go. My tape is being a little bit finicky with me today. Okay, so that tape isn't really sticking on because it's curved, but that's okay. We have our firework taped on. We definitely have a piece on the back, and that's really all that matters, is that it's secured in at least one spot. So now going back to the long part of the straw that we cut off, we're going to take that and we're going to do 4 more cuts similar to what we just did on one end. And again, if you have 2 sized straws, this is going to be super beneficial, actually preferred. But if you just have the one size straw, that's why we're making these cuts. So I'm going to do the same thing and make 4 small cuts into the one side of our straw. I made cuts on this side, and I'm going to kind of push these in to make the opening of the straw smaller. So ideally you would have a small straw for your base, and then your launcher part with our firework would be a jumbo straw or something bigger. So you want to have a bigger object on top and a smaller on the bottom. So by making the 4 cuts on the top, we're going to be able to expand the bottom here. Now we made 4 cuts on our base, but we're going to use those to pinch in and make a smaller opening. So it might take some help from a parent or a teacher, well, I guess school would be out, but you can watch these at any time, I guess. So if you're watching these and it is school time, you might need help from a parent or a teacher just to squeeze the straw and make it a smaller opening for you guys. But it doesn't have to be very exact. We just want to make sure that we're limiting the size of the opening so that it is smaller than the opening of the top part. Okay, so I've got mine. And I'm just going to cut off this extra tape here so that we can fit the top part on our face. I don't have the best scissors either. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I've got this straw taped and the opening is slightly smaller than the bottom, but small enough so that it is smaller than our top firework piece. So this activity, using this straw and paper to make our firework, is just a firework launcher. So what we're going to be doing is using air from our lungs to shoot off the firework. So it's similar to the motion of when the gunpowder explodes inside of a firework and launches the canister. Basically, that's the motion that we're recreating using the straw and the paper to make our launching firework. So what you're going to do is take your top part with your firework on it, put it right over top of your launcher, and you don't want to put it too far down so that it's like stuck. You just basically want to lightly put it on top, and you should be able to feel that the top piece is slightly bigger than the bottom. So I'm just going to lightly put it on. If you put it on too far, it's going to be very hard to use your breath. Ooh, as you can see, it's just barely on. If you put it too far on, it's going to be hard to use your breath to get enough air in your lungs to blow off the firework at the top. But I'm gonna put this back on, and then you can either shoot these if you lay on the ground and shoot them straight up, or you can just shoot them like you would a rocket launcher. Either way, I think is pretty fun and pretty cool. So I have my firework here, just lightly on, and I'm going to try and blow it right at you guys. So 3, 2, 1. So that's our firework. Mine launched to the other side of the table, but that was kind of a weak breath that I had there. So it might be fun to have a firework shooting contest at home if you're celebrating with friends and family. Very easy to set up. And like I said, as long as you have this piece, you just have to make more fireworks here. So all you have to do is untape the firework if you want a new one, tape a new one right on, but otherwise you can use just the one straw for a really long time to do this activity and create different fireworks, try different angles, try shooting from the ground. Really the possibilities are endless in terms of this firework activity. So hopefully that provides a safe and fun way for you to experience fireworks at home on the 4th of July, but hopefully you can see some either in person or virtually as well. So that's our activity for today. Again, I hope you have a great 4th of July, and I'll see you next week for another STEM Sundays episode. Have a great one, guys.